What annoys me about South African corporate greed and capitalism is that it aspires to be like America and those Western countries, but it doesn't want to offer the same type of innovation. Like it just wants to exploit without offering any tangible product and services that at least justify the capitalism. Like in America, you have hyper capitalism. You have like Netflix that has very unfair practices towards artists. You have like Apple, which literally uses child laborers in like China or something. And that's the corporate greed, and they overcharge those things. But at least they're offering something of value. You're like, oh, this product is dope, even though it's very unethical and we should not be doing this. But at least there's something. Well, else in South Africa, it's corporate greed, but there's nothing being invented. Like there's literally nothing. All you have in our corporate greed is DSTV wanting you to pay TV license when like there's nothing that they're offering you. Like TV license is always a bad idea. It's exploitative, but give me something so that I'm like, you want me to pay, and then I give you, and I understand what it's unfair, you're overcharging me, but at least there's something you're offering.
Capitalism is private ownership. Private ownership distributed amongst a small group of people. Private ownership over what? Over industries, property, businesses. South Africa is mostly a capitalist country with socialist characteristics. What are these socialist characteristics? Regulations, government intervention, social welfare programs. In South Africa, 5 families run. They own South Africa. They are the custodians of capitalism. Of the 5 families, 3 of those families are white families. One is black and the other is Indian. Now, that is important to note because it gives us the understanding that when it comes to ownership in South Africa, the majority of ownership is with white people. Then whatever is left is distributed amongst the blacks and the coloreds and the Indians.
A fully socialist system wouldn't work in South Africa, guys. At least I don't believe. Neither would a fully capitalistic system. In my opinion, what would truly work in South Africa and the best political economic arrangement for South Africa is a social democracy or a developmental social democracy, right? The problem with having a fully socialist system in place in South Africa is we already have so much corruption. We have a corruption culture as is. A fully socialist state, a fully socialist system would just exacerbate that corruption issue. Too much state intervention at that point would be a problem. It would just lead to more corruption. That is why already in a country like South Africa where corruption rules, a fully socialist state is one of the last things we need, right? I also feel like we need to prioritize enterprise to a degree. We also need to prioritize markets to a degree, right? And what I like about a social democracy or a developmental social democracy rather is that it allows for markets to exist, but with a lot of regulation, right? So it's capitalism, but with social, it's like a mix, you know what I mean? We also do need to prioritize our private sector, guys. More innovation, more market growth, attracting investment into the country, things of that nature. And it will benefit us in many ways. A social democracy will improve healthcare. It will give us quality healthcare, better education, better infrastructure, better access to clean water, things of that nature. So that is what I think is the best economic system or political economic arrangement for South Africa.
Where are the apps, like the movie apps? Like, I feel like the movie industry is dying because we don't have streaming platforms to house, like we don't have the infrastructure to house those new movies. If someone made a movie now, where would it go? Like Showmax, they're not even putting effort. Like it's such a bad interface. Like where's they greedy. All the billionaires just want to build mines. Like Abo Ramaphosa just want to hide money under the couch. Why not use that grid to be like, okay, I want to do money laundering. Let me create like a PayPal, like a South African PayPal where I can do money without being tracked and like innovate, be greedy, but innovate. Like they just want money, but there's nothing that they're offering that justifies that capitalism where we can say, yo, you know what, they have their foot on our necks, but at least we can see that there's something in society that it's offering, even though it's bad for human like nature, it's bad for the soul of the nation. Well, they just want to exploit, but there's nothing that they're offering. We still live in the Stone Ages.
It's also important to know that when we are speaking about ownership in relation to black people, to colored people, to Indian people. A lot of the time, what we are speaking about is stewardship, meaning managing the properties, the businesses, the industries that are white owned. It's not all the time that we're actually owning stuff. That's important to note. Now, because South Africa is mostly a capitalist country, in order for you as a South African citizen to have your basic human needs met, meaning water, food, sanitation, shelter, safety, you are going to have to engage in capitalism. But in order to engage in capitalism, you need to first gain access. Now, because of the legacy of apartheid, it is such that when it comes to gaining access, the majority of white South African citizens gain their access via inheritance. They inherit a business, they inherit a property, they inherit a high-ranking position in an industry. Unlike the majority of white South Africans, and as a result of the legacy of apartheid, the majority of black South Africans do not have any land, any businesses, any high-ranking positions within industries to inherit.
Someone once said that capitalism is rooted in poverty mindset, in lack mindset. I think that person may have been Sovereign. She's one of my favorite creators. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Got me thinking about a lot of things. Because the only way you would want to hoard something is if you thought that there wasn't enough to go around. I mean, you have to believe in lack for you to want to hoard all the wealth to yourself. It means that there's a part of you that believes that there's not enough for everyone, which sucks. If you're a decent person that believes that wealth should be shared, if you hate poverty, you should probably build a business that will speak to those values. And I think more good people in the world have an obligation to become filthy rich and an obligation to become wealthy so that they can do more good. You have to build businesses that actually create opportunities for other people and build wealth for other people. And I guess that's why they say it's lonely at the top, right? Because a lot of us want to be above everyone. We want to be rich or wealthy because we want to be seen, driving the fanciest cars, living in the best houses. We want to be on a pedestal and look down on others. And I think that goes for everyone because, I mean, we all have an ego that lives inside us. So the ability to fight that is imperative. The ability to build enough seats at the tables. And like building enough seats at the table avoids things like people just being jealous. You know, that envious energy, the jealous energy. You kill a lot of negative energy by just rising up with the people who are around you in the best way that you can. And if you are someone who believes in manifestation, in abundance, then there is no other way to do it. Like, why would you perpetuate a capitalist agenda if you truly believe in abundance? Doesn't make sense.
In South Africa, we do not need capitalism. We need communism, or at the very least, socialism. Because during apartheid, the white minority rule was not just obtained through violence, but through obtaining the means of production and keeping it away from black and colored people. The sooner we wake up and realize that the capitalist is distracting us by racial and gender divides, is the sooner we take back our power by the means of production, so we can truly become an egalitarian society where every South African lives with their basic needs met and dignity.
Meaning, for decades, we have not been able to engage the machine that is capitalism. And due to how it has been set up in South Africa, the way that the majority of black South Africans are able to access engagement into capitalism is via education, crime, or proximity to whiteness. And then when we do gain access, and now we are engaging capitalism, we are engaging it not from a standpoint of ownership or even stewardship. We are engaging it from a standpoint of ensuring that those 5 families live the most luxurious life they can live on this planet. Like the everyday citizen is ensuring that those 5 families have a buffet of food decked out on a table every single day. And then depending what race you are, when they are done eating, the leftovers go to the whites, and of the leftovers, the crumbs go to the rest of us. And we get so excited for those crumbs because as a black child, when we enter this world within the context of South Africa, we have absolutely no food. So when those crumbs come, they symbolize, oh, we are able to at least meet some of our basic needs. Now, proximity to whiteness then becomes very important to us because it symbolizes, gives us the illusion that one day, if we work very hard and apply our minds and do the best that we can, at least one day, we know that we're not going to make it to the table. We're not going to make it to the buffet. But the hope is that we can make it into the servants' quarters so that we can get the leftovers that the everyday majority of white citizens are getting.